huh, there's, something familiar about this. Showrunners who leave Star Trek rather abruptly. Oh, yeah, they pretty much all have. Except, well, Kurtzman's always around because, he's in charge of the whole thing. Well, just under CBS, but CBS doesn't have a clue. Anyway, Michael Chabon not returning for second season, but wait a minute, this was a dream come true and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, the season's not even out yet and not going to show up for the second one. Now, the second one hadn't been announced yet, but I assume there would be, right? I mean, if Discovery can get 3 seasons, why can't this one? Unless, of course, the rumor that Picard will die at the end of this one. And the only way to do a second season was that they would name the ship that the cast are flying around in. They'll name it Picard. Yeah. His dying words were, "Make it so." And then he dies, and they're like, "Oh man, we got to honor him by, naming it." And so then it'll be about the ship, like Star Trek Enterprise and Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Voyager. See? Yeah. I don't think that'll sit well. So here we are with Bounding into Comics, which is getting this from Deadline. So, but anyway, multiple reports detail that Star Trek Picard showrunner Michael Chabon will not be returning for an as of yet announced season 2 of the show. Deadline reports Chabon will remain as executive producer. Yeah. So you'll get a check out of the deal, but not really involved with it anymore. But he will transition, no, not that kind, to showrunning the adaptation of his Cavalier and Clay novel on Showtime through CBS Television Studios. Here we go. Listen, we'll adapt your novel into a TV series if you help us out here with this Star Trek thing. So, okay, he'll oversee this first season of Picard, and then he gets his show for his novel, which that's mostly what he's known for. He did this Cavalier and Clay, which is like his fictionalized accounts of the early days of the comic book, how it began and whatnot. And these guys, they were the guys who created the superhero Escapist, which Dark Horse actually published a series of based on the character Escapist and all that. So this was always a cool idea, and I'm actually interested. I might have to check back with All Access just to see this one, because I always thought it would be a cool idea to do a series based on the early days of the comic book industry and follow it through. And it like a Mad Men, but for the comic book industry, and that would make it pretty good. And you could base it on all the different stories from Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and, all other than the EC guys with Wallace Wood and whatnot. All that stuff is so much material there to use for a series. And that would be a good thing. So there might be really something cool for this. But apparently, I'm thinking, yeah, you had to do Star Trek for him before they signed. It's been a while since Cavalier Clay has been out. It was a successful novel and all that, but I hadn't heard much else about it. And so now going to do the TV series, which is probably a lot better than a film, especially since there is a possibility. There's been great television here lately, not so much. I'm afraid the renaissance of television has passed, but maybe they can bring it back for this little project, because that's some good source material for a series idea. Anyway, so they've got the deal with Chabon, and so I guess his wife's involved too. Well, yeah, whatever, and all that stuff, and that's how that works. I think that was part of the deal here, and that really got him in to add his name to Star Trek in the hopes that would just forget about Kurtzman, all right? So, and then of course Picard himself, Patrick Stewart coming in, it was a boost for it. But the signs are there that it's a bit of a bait and switch, because it's just a bunch of names stacked on top of the same material and crew working on these shows now. They don't have a clue of how to write Star Trek. So hopefully completely wrong, but it, doesn't look like it. And the move is quite shocking, given less than 6 months ago, Chabon was announced as a show. Yeah, boy, because in Star Trek was not the deal. That's not what he was interested in. He wants his own work to go forward with the series. So, well, with Chabon stepping down, this continues a troubling trend for Alex Kurtzman produced Star Trek shows. Star Trek Discovery has gone through multiple showrunners in just 3 seasons. Gee, I wonder why. Showrunners Aaron Harbitz and Gretchen Berg were reportedly fired before season 2 began, with The Hollywood Reporter describing that they had become increasingly abusive to the Discovery writing staff. Well, that's terrible. Before Harbitz and Berg were reportedly fired, the original showrunner Brian Fuller departed the show before the first season. Yeah. And then they stole everything from it. Well, okay, he signed the deal, so whatever he came up with, they had, and then booted him out the door. Because he knew what they were doing. He says, no, that's not going to work. That's not Star Trek. And yeah, no, it has to be this way. Oh, boy. And then even Moonves is gone. So, anyway, that's another story. Along with the constant showrunners' turnovers, the Star Trek shows the upcoming Picard is also plagued with rumors that the show is simply not that good. And of course, Doomcock and people telling him that, the testing didn't go over well. My guess is that the first show would be pretty damn good because it's basically a reunion of Next Generation characters. And then after that, it's just a bad ripoff of Firefly. And that's about it. And there are fears that, Picard will be treated like Luke Skywalker. And, jeez. It's really dead if you pull that stunt. But he's going to get diminished so that the new characters can come to the forefront. But that's not how you make great characters. You have to actually make great characters. And, and of course, whoa, Picard sucks all the oxygen out of the room. That's because you don't know how to write your new characters to be any good. And you have him there to sell the show. And if he's just there to sell the show, that means you don't have much of a show to sell. And that's the problem. But, well, what are you going to do? Doesn't look so great, does it? No. So anyway, Netflix said pass after they got screwed over by the original, Star Trek Discovery. They were basically lied to about what it was and all this sort of thing. And so then they said, hey, we got this Picard series, that's a fan favorite and all that. And they still said, no, you fooled me once. and that was it. Yeah. So, it's always a lot of rumors, but man, so many of them just seem to get confirmed all the time about things. But hopefully it's just, he did this favor so they could do his Cavalier and Clay. And then it turns out they actually did a good season of Star Trek Picard. That's the hope that springs eternal, doesn't it? And, but at this point, extremely dubious on that, and it's just all very sad. But what are you gonna do? Can't blame Chabon, he wants to do his Cavalier and Clay thing, and that's his baby. So best of luck there. That sounds like it might be pretty good. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. You can also find a link to my podcast already at misfits.com, the Mr Nailsin Show, and also the other video platform where my videos are stored or posted, what have you, bitshoot.com, the Mr Nailsin channel at bitshoot.com.